Hey, folks, welcome to Market Intraday Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Tuesday, December 14th, 2010. Well, let's take a look at the charts today. What is happening on an intraday basis here on the SPY, which mirrors the S&P 500. Right now, we are seeing a slightly positive market as all things are very, very quiet ahead of the FOMC rate decision that will be announced in about 10 minutes from now. Again, that announcement at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And again, no rate changes are expected. It's all about their verbiage. What are they going to say? Will it affect the dollar in a positive or negative way? A drop in the dollar should propel the markets higher, while a rise in the dollar could set off a little bit of a sell-off on this market. And again, you can see today we opened just slightly higher, consolidated, then broke higher as the dollar started to slowly fade. And that's really been the name of the game today, folks. We've gone from where we opened slightly neutral to higher across the board today as the dollar opened higher and has gone into the negative territory. And I'll show you the intraday UUP chart right now. Let's take a quick look. So again, you can see overall dollar early on in the first 30 minutes of the day was slightly higher, and since then has come down and continues to go sideways, even starting to tick down towards the lows of the day again. And again, positive to negative, and again, the markets open fractionally higher, and on the SPY they went higher after that as the dollar slowly fell down. Now, you might see a little bit of jockeying ahead of this FOMC rate decision now, people starting to position themselves. Volume, again, very, very light, but it's starting to uptick now as, again, people are starting to position their portfolios to take advantage of what they think the market will do. Smart traders, to be honest, stay on the sidelines until we get the news so we can make an educated decision whether or not to go long or short. And that's what it's all about, folks. Educated guesses where you have the process or the ratios of success in your pocket 85-90% of the time. You get them like that, you will be a very successful trader like those here at In the Money Stocks. And we encourage you to always join the Research Center, join the Intraday Stock Chat, and start making the money the pros make. All right. Starting now, let's just talk about resistance support lines. Spiders are down, ticking into this little area of support right here. You have the 50 and the 20 moving average. Don't expect that level to hold for more than the next 10 minutes, as again, once that rate decision comes out, you should see either a big pop or a big pullback. Considering the size of the move today, you expect it to be big. It's not going to be big in general, though I don't think. Again, really, it's going to be the key of what they say going forward. Is QE3 looming down the pipeline maybe mid-year or so? How is this all going to play out? How much more money are they going to print? What are they going to do about rates? And so forth. All right, on the upside, folks, what we want to just focus on, you have this 125.20 to 25 level as resistance. On this rate decision, you could easily see that get taken out to the upside on an intraday basis. Whether it gets taken out or not in a longer term sense is a little bit more murky because it's such a major level. The 125 and a quarter level happens to be a very, very important level on the daily chart. So we'll watch very closely when this all is said and done at the end of today where this market ends up going. All right, now if you break the moving averages to the downside, where are you going to go? You have a minor level of support right here. You can see very clearly there's a little pivot low right here. That's going to work as intraday support on the markets, and that's at 124.85. And then if you take that out, you're going to go back to gap fill right down here in the red trend line area, right around 124.50 to 124.60. All right, if you take it out on the upside, if we take out 125 and a quarter on the upside, look for a move to 125.55 and then 126 on the SPY. Now, again, let's take a look at a couple other things. I mean, we talked about how the dollar started slightly positive and then moved to the downside and moved negative today. What's going on with the oil trade? Oil is fractionally positive, although you are seeing oil pull back just a little bit here as we get closer and closer to spot crude's close. Essentially a flat day. It had a nice little gap down and pushed down early, recovered as the dollar failed and fell back down. That obviously drives commodities higher. And then just recently we're seeing a little bit of a downtick as you're seeing some sellers coming in ahead of the Federal Reserve today. The GLD, let's take a little bit of a look now. The GLD, for the most part, continues to move up here, and again is up about 88 cents today. It's getting a little bit of a downtick here, but for the most part, again, a weak dollar is good for the gold trade. Also, people are very skeptical on what the Federal Reserve is going to say, how they're going to react, what they're going to do. Overall, people just continue to think the Fed is going to print when it comes to money, which is, again, overly bullish for gold. And again, you've seen that reflected in today's premium move on gold to the upside on the GLD, up 88 cents. Now let's touch base on a couple different trades today. What were the big trades over the last couple days in the Research Center that really made members big money? Number one, RVBD. I touched on this yesterday. Folks, what a move today. We added it to the bearish pro trader watch list as of Friday's close, and therefore as of the closing price, people waited to Monday's gap up. The gap up took you to 38. Today we pulled it off in the 34 range. That's a $4 drop on RVBD. It's just a 30 and change dollar stock. To drop $4, that's a 10% gain literally in 2 trading days. Fantastic little move there. And again, that was on the bearish from that 37.38 level. And again, the low today was 33.53. The other one, again, which is still up there, which continues to be a big payoff here, was CRE. We added it on the bearish side of the pro trader watch list, which again tells you that traders here are playing it to the downside or looking to play it to the downside. And sure enough, it gaps up on Monday, same thing. Sells off, closes at the lows of the day, and look at the drop early, and look at where it's trading. It's down $3 more today after being down over $1 yesterday. That's a huge profit player as well for those in the research center. And again, you get the pro trader watch list, you get the hot charts and alerts, you get the nightly videos, which I personally do 30 to 40 minutes in length of hardcore analysis on everything from the stocks to the market to the commodities to the currencies. And again, we go over every little nuance that you need to know, including projections on tomorrow, the next day after that, and next week. All right, daily market reports included. It's all included for $49.99. But in any case, that's what you're looking for right now. Goldman Sachs today is trading down 35 cents. A little bit of an in-spirit of bear flag here on Goldman, which is kind of interesting. You have this down move right here and a little bit of an in-spirit of bearish pattern. We'll see if it breaks down. We have about 6 minutes remaining until the FOMC rate decision will be published to the market. And again, you can see the market starting to get a little bit of interest here. Even Goldman Sachs. Look at the candle here on volume on GS, Goldman Sachs. That's showing you that people are jockeying for a little bit of a position here one way or the other. And again, we'll keep an eye on it. JP Morgan is down 48 cents. That's a nice little drop on JPM today. From yesterday's high from 42, you're down about $1 in total to today's lows where we currently are trading. All right, Apple Computer, next up. Apple is flat on the day. Beautiful rollover yesterday. Continued this morning, but then recovered. It still seems like Apple has a little bit of positive nature to it, although it looks like it's waning quite a bit. If you take a look at the daily chart on Apple here, take a look. Yes, you've gone up back to the highs, but you're not really taking those highs out dramatically, even though you're staying up in that range. And Apple in the olden days, meaning going back a month or two, this thing would just be ripping higher and higher, especially coming into the holidays. It's not really doing that, which tells us again, yeah, maybe it has one more small push up, but it should be near a good size pullback in my opinion. And again, does the pullback happen dramatically before the end of the year? Most likely not. Could you have a smaller pullback, maybe back to the 50 moving average before the new year? Yes, I think that is a good possibility on Apple Computer. All right, Freeport-McMoRan, another extended chart, just down 17 cents right here. Again, anything above 115, 116 looks to be an interesting short-term possible pullback play. It could get as high as yesterday's highs, which were around 117 and change, but nonetheless, it is showing some signs of weakness, and we are keeping it very, very close to our chest in terms of looking for a possible shorting opportunity. And again, for those of you that in the hot charts and alerts and pro trader and so forth, you know exactly what we're thinking about on that play. All right, what else do we want to look at? Let's take a look at Amazon next. Amazon's up 19 cents. Very flat day, very quiet day. As I mentioned, the SPY is trading in an unbelievably quiet fashion here ahead of the FOMC, although starting to get a little bit of action just prior. We are 4 minutes away from that announcement, and I'll take you guys through it live as we continue to do this video. All right. Now, a couple of the smaller cap size, MTXX is one of the big movers today. Take a look at that, up $2.86. That's just a monster move on this little biotech play. And again, it looks like let me just get a little sense here. Zicam's settlement made, and that's one of their major drugs, folks. And for them to settle that drug issue, that is a huge thing for that stock. And the stock, likewise, is up about 56% on the day. So a big move there. Very solid 2C. Another play to watch, Yoku. We made some money on this morning. I talked about it last night in the video, talking about how anything around 30 or below 30 was going to be positive. Those people that bought early this morning or yesterday into the close, $1.50 pop early on. It has gone negative. At this point, you're probably waiting for it to go probably to around 27, 28 bucks, and then I think it could be an interesting play after that. Just taking a look right here on the longer term last few days chart. This was an IPO. Unbelievable move from 25 to 50, and then 2 days later it goes back to 30 bucks. What volatility on this play. It's truly astounding. All right, and again, that's an IPO in China. Basically a YouTube type IPO in China. Again, underneath probably 28, 27 area as it gets towards the low levels where it debuted here. I think that's where you're going to start to find an interesting little double bottom. If it can dump a little bit more today, that would be fantastic. Give us a better entry in the coming days. U.S. Steel having a very solid day, up $1.22 today, trading at the highs of the day. And again, take a look at the chart on U.S. Steel at this point. I mean, we'll zoom out here so we can get a little bit of a better sense on where it could go. But right away, the first thing that marks my attention is a little bit of a gap fill right here. It's not there yet. It's getting there, though. And that's at $56. So $56 approximately will be the next big resistance on U.S. Steel. It's only 60 cents away at this point. If it takes that out, you're going to look for this little pivot top right here at 58, and then possibly a move up to as high as 59.20, and then 60 and a half. All right, those again are your levels, but you haven't quite reached a high level yet where it could start to really meet resistance. So look for that to be your first level for a small pullback, and then we'll gauge the rest of the levels as we go. 1 minute left till the Fed decision, folks. And again, we're not expecting any change. I'm more interested to take you guys through the SPY movement here just to show you the volatility that should ensue, and we'll watch to see if it really starts to break up in this manner. This is always the fun part where we start to see the volatility. Volume should really pop up as we talk. Right now, you're just holding steady on these two moving averages, which are support here, but any sort of downside movement, it'll just take it very, very carefully, or upside. And I will say one thing, folks. If the dollar drops, markets will go higher, and that'll depend on what the Fed says. You know the Fed wants a weak dollar, so you have to kind of give yourself that small bias that they're going to try to push this market up, but you just never know. Is it a sell the news event? Is it going to be a buy the news event as the dollar drops? We're going to be watching again very carefully here any minute for this Fed rate decision. All right? And again, waiting on that for now here, folks. And again, watching very, very closely. Spiders upticking just a little at this point in time. And again, about 30 seconds or less here as we watch and see. All right. And again, Spiders starting to get a little bit more volatile here. We are starting to get, here we go, guys, unchanged. Fed funds rate unchanged, which is no surprise. Spiders starting to inch up a little, which is not a surprise as well. Let's see if it's the first move is wrong or right. Also, let's quick flip to the dollar. I want to get a quick look at the dollar. Dollar's down ticking, so that makes sense, right? As the dollar down ticks, markets generally will move up a little bit, and that's correct. Now, does the dollar stay down or does it start to pop up? Let's go back to the SPY here. And again, comments. Now it's the comments. They're releasing the comments on the FOMC, and you can see the market starting to say, wait a minute, the comments aren't maybe as dovish as we'd want. It's starting to downtick. So far, not a major move, though, one way or the other. We just hit the 50. Now we're bouncing back up. Volume obviously getting much, much more or ensuing here as people are digesting now again back up. So far, somewhat of a non-event, and now we're starting to uptick again. Let's go back to the dollar. Spiders, here we go. Spiders breaking up. There's the high double top from yesterday. Let's see what happens. Dollar, yep, dollar's at the new lows of the day, breaking down as we speak, and that's going to help the markets move up. So again, watch to see where we go. It doesn't look like a major move one way or the other, but you are getting a pop. Wow, look at the volatility here, and we're popping right back down here, and again, staying right in line. Truly amazing action. I love to see this stuff. It just makes trading worthwhile. And again, trying to figure out now where the next move, putting the position in, getting the odds in your favor, 89, 85 to 90% is where it's all at. And again, so far, market staying quiet. We've popped up, we've popped down. And again, all about the dollar. Keep an eye on that dollar. The dollar continues to be weak. But look at the dollar. See what happened there? So the dollar popped down just as we were talking, and then the markets popped up, and now the dollar bounced all the way back up, and we saw the markets coming back in. Now the dollar's down, ticking a little. Let's go back. And the spiders are holding steady right here as well. So very, very interesting action on the SPY, which again is the overall market. We're now down ticking even a little bit more. A little bit more. Keep an eye on that dollar, guys. It's all about the dollar at this point. And again, if the dollar starts to really drop, expect the markets to start to move up more dramatically. And again, it doesn't look like the dollar is really getting a big move up or a big move down. Markets are starting to downtick a little bit more as people maybe, again, we're hoping for a little bit more of a bullish thought process on the markets at this point from the Federal Reserve, and they're just not getting it. They're just not getting it. All right, enough said. Markets are down, ticking. Support, if you continue down, is going to be right here at 124.80 or so to 85. That can be a scalping level. Otherwise, you're going to look for the lows of the day and this red trend line down here. Take care, folks. Have a wonderful rest of the day.